Good afternoon. I hope you had a very good tea break. I think this morning's sessions were really interesting. A lot of the things that were discussed actually resonates with what I want to talk about shortly. Basically, what I want to start with is on the OTT growth itself. In the past couple of years, it's a fact that the growth of OTT, be it SWOT, TWOT, EST, or AWOT, is definitely growing. And based on various studies, the trend is continuing to grow. As you can see, this is more on a global scale, while SWOT is dominating. This is basically contributed by Netflix. Netflix basically has a business model that brings in the revenue, especially in developed nations like America, in the US, and in certain parts of Europe. But one thing about this can be misleading is that even though the revenue is high, Netflix continues to burn a lot of money because of the high content acquisition costs. They spend almost up to $6 billion just to get content and to produce original content. That's a lot of money. But of course, they are the pioneers. They are the ones who are now dominating and being seen as the leaders. On top of that, there's also a study done by Clearleap. Clearleap is a subsidiary of IBM. And basically in their study, the main feature or the main thing that came out is that in their study, this is actually not a surprise, is that the millennials, the young people, the youth, 80% of them are actually consuming content on mobile devices. I come from Singapore, basically, and in Singapore, we actually call the younger generation, or actually people, not even the younger generation, almost everybody, the look down generation. Why look down? You go to the train, everybody is looking down at the devices. So there's nobody is looking at each other anymore. Even couples, they are just texting to each other, Snapchat or whatever. So this is it's a trend. I'm not sure about India, but I guess this is in urban. This is going to be the trend. You can see it more and more everywhere. This trend, it corresponds with the proliferation of smartphones. The more smartphone consumption or penetration increases, then this trend will continue because of the apps available for the people to consume. All right. OTT then comes to the home. Traditionally, in the home, you have like pay TV, traditional services on your big screen TV. You have your cable TV, you have your DTH. Here, cable TV is very popular, especially outside of the, in the small villages or suburban areas. And it's actually driving the content business. But OTT is slowly creeping into this market. Things, why? Things like good value, tiered pricing. You see all this is based on a global kind of thing. It's actually a US where the pay TV operators are experiencing this, where their customer base is eroding. Why? Good value, tiered pricing. What I mean good value? Good value is that for the amount of money that the consumer pay, they are getting a lot more content and content that they want to watch. Okay, and by tiered pricing, I mean that the consumer has now the power on how they want to pay for the content. They can pay transactional or single or by voucher or any way. Plus, they can also choose how many people to consume the content. In a household, they can choose to have 1 person, 4 person, or 4 devices to consume the content. They pay accordingly to what they want to watch. Also, the consumer can pay for the type of content they want to watch. It can be SD, HD, 4K. The higher quality, of course, the more they pay. That gives the power to the consumer. And the next item is actually quite interesting in the sense that this is not something that's in your face. Basically, content that getting content or it is easy to where you can get content easily and you can discover content easily. This is a very subtle thing that you actually notice. Let's say when you watch content, after a while, the app actually analyzes what you want to watch and how you watch it, and actually starts to suggest content to you. And subtly, you just find that you get sucked in, because after watching this series, they suggest, okay, why not watch this and that and that, and you start getting sucked into watching more and more content. And this is very subtle. It's not in your face, but it influences the behavior of the consumer. The next item is multi-screen. As I mentioned earlier, more and more consumers now are watching their content on multiple devices. They can start off in the morning by watching a movie at home or a short series at home, and then they go to work, or they commute. They can take a bus or they take a train or something, and in the train they can continue watching it. Where they left off. Actually, this is continuation of what they're watching. And you can watch in multi-device. You start off on a big screen, goes to a mobile screen, you go to the office, maybe you have some time during lunch, you want to watch it on your PC, and it goes on, multi-screen, and then back home to your big TV. And this is actually also influencing the consumer behavior. And another interesting that comes with SWOT, like what Netflix is doing, is binge watching. This is a trend now that more and more people are actually interested to watch old content or content that is already been shown, but they have not seen. It could be like American content, like The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones or something like that, where they after all the hype, they want to know, okay, now it's already season 5, but I want to watch what happens in season 1 and 2. And then they can actually go back and catch up on all this content that was shown previously. And because it's already in the library, people tend to binge watch. So they'll be watching like 3, 4, 5 hours in a row just to catch up on this content every day. And this is also a trend that is that OTT brings to the table. And the next thing is actually what was also mentioned earlier in the earlier talks, is actually convenience. Because of all this, people find that it's so convenient to consume content. They can consume it in multi-devices, anytime, any place. And this actually indirectly, slowly changed again the behaviors of consumers. In terms of the development in the global market, in US especially, there are also multiple devices or multiple ways to invade the home. Let's say in US, content is still, especially high quality content, HD, and maybe even 4K content, is still consumed a lot on the big screen, because that's where the home cinema is. When people set up a big screen, very nice sound system, just to enjoy the content. And that's still where some people, or many people in US, actually like to watch the content. And that's where you can have devices like, it was called Chromecast, but now they changed it to Google Cast, where actually you can cast content from mobile devices to your big screen. You can have also things like Apple TV, Roku, Comcast, and also games machines. Game machines like Xbox, PS4 now comes built-in, embedded with apps. These apps like Netflix and etc., they actually are content watching apps. And of course, smart TVs. The Sony, Samsungs, and LGs, all this also comes embedded now with certain apps that help you to watch content. So below you can see the various different apps that helps to push you to content. But not shown here are a lot of I would say gray boxes, the Android set-top boxes. In Singapore, actually it's become a big issue because these Android set-top boxes actually comes with apps, SWOT apps that get content from overseas or video service that are overseas, that are not under jurisdiction of the Singapore government. And this content are coming into Singapore with the SWOT content. And this is causing a lot of issues because the Android box itself is not illegal. But how the content is shown to the end user is illegal, but how do we control that? So that is now a major issue where the governments are actually thinking of solutions. Because if they're going to ban an Android box, it's basically they have to ban every other mobile phone, Android phone. So it doesn't make sense. And the Android box itself is not illegal because they are just providing a box and the app. But the app, where the app gets the content that is global, no one knows. So that's something that is been tackled. All right. To regulate the existing pay TV operators, this is actually an irritation, or some people call it a disruption, because they actually disrupt or irritates what the existing business is eroding the existing business. So many, or actually is now a need by all pay TV or traditional pay TV operators to also consider going into the OTT path. This is a needed thing. All right, just a little bit about development in India. This is feedback given by my team. And basically, I guess most of you will know better than me, is that they have a lot of pay TV operators and a lot of pay TV customers here, be it DTH, through satellite, or through the cable, or IPTV. I think there are also a lot of there's a mushrooming of OTT operators. Just now itself, there are a few operators that they were on the screen. And even newer, I think a couple of days back, there was a Viacom 18, they just launched Woods. And of course, international OTT operators are start coming in. I think Hook is familiar to me because it's also available in Singapore. Yeah, in Singapore we also have others like iFlix and so and so. iFlix became quite a brand name because recently they got investment from News Corp. Yeah, and of course all this caused a lot of concern to two parties. Of course, to the government and also to the existing operators, because to them OTT is sort of unregulated. And there are actually a lot of concerns on how to regulate. As I mentioned earlier, I think one of the things is that they try to have a self-regulation. Actually, in a big controversy of Netflix, actually is a lot of content that may not be appropriate for certain markets. I mean, there was one big controversy is one of the original content called Sense8. In Sense8, there were a lot of homosexual scenes and naked scenes and all that. So actually this created a lot of concern on certain markets. I mean, coming from Singapore, actually Singapore has very strict censorship rules, including Malaysia and all that. And actually this is causing quite a lot of concern. And because of this, many people, and because of this, actually Netflix actually provides different content. They try to provide different content for different markets. But consumers, they're always so clever. What they do is actually they go through VPN and they try to get the content from US or somewhere that has all these contents available. And Netflix, because of a lot of backlash, Netflix actually now try to prevent people from going through VPN. Another thing is that basically the government also mandated that cable operators try to increase their offerings to also include broadband. I think one of the major things that is observed maybe by the government or they're trying to encourage is to increase the broadband penetration. In most countries, broadband penetration through mobile 3G or 4G is actually not considered the real broadband penetration. It has to be fiber to the home or at least physical infrastructure to the home to encourage good broadband penetration. This is a study done by OWM for Indian market where they analyze and they claim that, okay, this is the trend. But one interesting trend here that I would like to point out is actually the mobile growth. It looks like at the moment it's going up from 100 million, 200 million, but then there's going to, what they analyze is that there's going to be explosive growth on mobile. I mean, this is based on various countries, not just India, because when they come up with this trend, because in the world, every country that goes through this phase, there will be a certain stage where they will experience explosive growth in the mobile penetration. Singapore, for instance, has actually more than 100% penetration. Indonesia has close to 90% penetration. Malaysia, more than 100% penetration. Hong Kong also, more than 100% penetration. So the trend is that we can actually see that there's going to be 1 billion mobile subscribers in India. No wonder, yesterday, actually, this whole place was full of people, and they were actually all from a mobile operator, and they even had a big party. And you can see that the mobile operators are actually growing a lot if they can do that. Yeah. So this is the readiness. All right, continuing on, is all this attention is actually attracting then a lot of piracy. People are pirating content because sometimes people don't want to pay, or it's too expensive, or the content is not readily available, or it's not conveniently available. They go to YouTube, and then, as I say, OVPs here is actually the offshore video platforms. These are through the illegal, the gray markets set-top boxes, the Android set-top boxes. And one interesting thing about Periscope, recently a lot of controversy came out about Periscope is because people are pirating sports content. Okay, sports content have very little shelf life. Basically, people want to watch it live. Yeah, and basically by using Periscope, they just film it on the screen and they can stream it to users. This is seen in the boxing match between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, and basically people didn't pay to watch that content when actually the payout is very big. All right, so you have to combat all this piracy. I guess the best thing is for the OTT operators, which I also discussed earlier, is that they need to offer an affordable way for the consumer. Again, I say affordable, convenient, etc. All right. Let me continue. All right. Summing up the challenges in India based on feedback given is that, and also in my discussions earlier with some of the operators here, is improvement on the broadband. I mean, it's there, but continue to improve on the broadband infrastructure. Having fiber to the home, or even better internet access to the home, this is a must. In Singapore, it's very small, but it's already, so it's easy. So it has like 99% fiber penetration. On average, we get the lowest, we get 10 megabits line. And most people now just sign up with the 100 megabits line to the home. And this is, we take it for granted. Yeah, everyone has 4G, good 4G. But one thing interesting about Singapore is that even with 4G, when you go into the train networks, the MRT networks, during peak time, there's still not enough capacity. People still can't watch content at certain peak times. Again, in crowded country, like India, this would be a major issue. And actually in Singapore, they have to fall back on Wi-Fi, providing free Wi-Fi in the MRT stations. Yeah, so that's again something that is interesting to note. Another thing is the cash economy here. People in the rural areas or something, they still believe in cash. Cash is still king. I mean, not many people, as mentioned earlier also, that credit card penetration is still very low in India, and most people still believe in just paying by cash. So what happens in India is, based on traditional method, is they depend on the mom and pop stores in the rural areas where these are the aggregators. They get the customers and then they aggregate and then they pay to the operator. But of course, the one is still best to get the credit card or online payment to grow. Also, next thing is original local content. Here I mean original. Original meaning to differentiate from the content available in that is already available in the pay TV operators, in the free-to-air. And this is, again, how Netflix grew. Netflix grew because they actually had a lot of original content, that even content that people here actually mentioned. So that's one way to differentiate from the traditional broadcasters. Of course, like in India, it's a vast country. You have a lot of different languages, cultures, and religions here. And this is another challenge where, as an operator, how do you want to target these people? Or you just purely targeting a certain group, or you want to target the whole group, and also the group outside of India, but the Indians outside of India. Yeah, these are the challenges to think about. Also, on challenges posed by the global OTT platforms. Netflix is an example. Other than that, it's a hook, and I'm sure there'll be more and more coming to India. In India, it's a young, I would say, a young growing market, and it's going to attract a lot of attention.
Mr. Lee, kindly please wrap up. Thank you.
Yeah?
Please.
Okay, sure. All right, just quickly running through. Basically, what we would like to propose is this business is your choice. Yeah? Going to OTT, you have to consider what type of business models, whether you want to use DRM or not. Business models is whether it's SWOT, AWOT, TWOT, EST, it's up to you. You have to consider DRM, streaming protocols, CMS platforms, encoders, CDNs, and how to integrate all of this, and whether it fits my budget. Yeah, sorry, I'm just running through quickly, just to fit the schedule. And basically, there are two solutions right now people are going through. The vertical solution, one-stop shop, where you go and they will provide everything, like maybe Akamai. And also horizontal approach, where the operator themselves pick and choose the best-in-class equipment and integrate. But this takes time to integrate. Yeah, but we believe the best solution is a combination of both, the open platform approach, where you have pre-integrated end-to-end solution, where the recommended choice of complete turnkey solutions, the best-in-class solutions, are delivered by one responsible party and is ready to launch because it's already pre-integrated and is still good enough, is flexible enough to grow. Yeah, what we have is actually, for example, Conax Go Live. You can have a look at our demo station, where it has all these features, and it's easy to launch and fast to launch. Okay, pay DVD continues to change. Yeah, people now consumers want to watch the content anytime, anywhere, everywhere. Okay, and it will not slow down. It will continue to grow, and the people will demand for it. Okay, there are a lot of devices out there. But the interesting thing is that the operator can actually make use of what is already embedded in this device, and it can be actually free. Yeah, there are a lot of types of DRMs out there. You have Apple FairPlay, you have Whitewine, you have Microsoft PlayReady, and the Adobe DRMs. This encompasses majority of all the products that is available in the market. But again, you can see here are the 4 major DRMs out there, and these are all embedded in these devices. Traditionally, it's very convoluted, complex way to integrate all this into a single system. What we have bring to the market actually is our Flow to Go, single unified multi-screen solution, where all these devices is using our back end, and you can have all these multi-DRMs and these multi-DRMs that's already embedded, so you don't have to pay anything. It's free of charge. There's you just open the browser and you can watch it. So our multi-DRM approach is a unified management across all these devices and platforms. All right. A bit about Conax. We have more than 25 years in securing content. We actually have a big office in Delhi. We are securing content for the biggest pay TV operator, satellite pay TV operator in India for more than 10 years. We have 400 customers worldwide, more than 85 countries. We have full range of products, and we are one of the few who has ISO certified in security. These are the range of our products, and coming to the end, thank you very much for your time. I would like to